Howdy folks, just an opinion here. Today, taking a look at the new CSX E-Series pistol from Smith & Wesson. The E-Series version of the CSX is brand new and it's built on the previous CSX gun, with some upgrades and improvements. The most noticeable change to the CSX, and the one that gives it the addition of E-Series to its name, is the optics ready slide. The slide's been pre-cut to accept micro red dot optics like the Holosun or Crimson Trace. There are no adapter plates, at least not at this time. The milled optic mount is made specifically for the RMS-C or the 507K footprint. This is the standard footprint for the micro-sized red dots and compatible with a large number of optics. I mounted the Holosun on it, and I also mounted a Crimson Trace on it. Both went on very easily. If you don't mount an optic, you'll be using the provided cover plate and sighting your target with a 3-dot white sight. They're not night sights, but they do give a really good sight picture. The sights are dovetail mounted, sort of. The rear sight is removed when the cover plate comes off, but not the way the instruction manual suggests. The manual instructs the user to drive the sight out with a hammer and a punch. Yeah, I was cringing already when I read that. But the good news is, the manual's wrong, if it's even possible for that to be good news. When I removed the cover plate screws to investigate, the rear sight simply plopped off. That's a technical term. The sight is technically a dovetail mount, but the front portion of that dovetail is the cover plate itself. So when you remove it, there's nothing holding it on. But this means that it can be adjusted for windage, and it has a set screw to hold that adjustment. Underneath that rear sight are some internal components, such as a nylon or similar plunger that's probably part of the internal safety system. My point is, be a little careful when removing the cover and the sight, because it could be possible to lose small parts or to introduce dirt and oil in a place where dirt and oil doesn't belong. All that said, the mounting of the Holosun was a piece of cake, same with the Crimson Trace. And I really do like that Smith & Wesson clearly marked the slide with the thread type required. Big extra credit for that. I tested the gun at the range with just the open sights because I don't usually like to use a red dot for my initial testing. The other big change, at least for me, was the prospect of an improved trigger. When I reviewed the original CSX a few years ago, I was less than impressed by the trigger. I visited Smith & Wesson's new facility in Tennessee last summer, and I had a chance to test fire the prototype of this new CSX E-Series at their range. The trigger felt way better to me, but I couldn't talk about that until now, and besides, a prototype and production can be two different things.
So when I unzipped my range bag and pulled out the pouch for, where I keep my handgun, my very first thought, just for an instant, was, oh crap, I forgot the gun. Because this thing is so feather light that, honest to God, that pouch felt like it was empty. It was not empty, of course. It was containing the CSX E-Series 9mm micro compact hammer-fired pistol from Smith & Wesson. And the E-Series is essentially the Mark II version of the CSX. The first CSX was a few years ago. I did a review on that. That was a gun I purchased. This one I didn't purchase. Smith & Wesson provided this gun for the review, so my thanks to the folks at Smith & Wesson for doing that. My only real complaint of the original CSX was the trigger. And it turned out I wasn't alone. A lot of people, I think almost universally, loved to hate the trigger. And I think even Smith realized that it had a lot of work to do there. So they did just that. And this pistol has a completely reworked trigger. The biggest problem was the reset was really bad. I mean, garbage bad on the original. It had false resets, it had a squishy, dirty feel, it didn't have a good positive forward spring, to move the trigger back into reset. It was just, everything about the reset just was very awkward. So the big question is, have they fixed that? And I'll talk more as we go about other things that are new in the E-Series version besides just a reworked trigger. But for me, the most important thing was, did they fix that? Well, I'm past 100 rounds so far at the range today, and so far it feels really good. That was 12 rounds out of the 12-round magazine. Comes with 3 magazines. Comes with the 12-rounder, comes with a 15-rounder, and a 17-rounder. And there are the appropriate sleeves provided with the gun to make those magazines fit flush and enhance your grip or extend your grip. There's also another complete palm swell that you can put on the gun that has the grip extension down below, so that if you didn't want to use the sleeves and you wanted to use the longer magazines, that provides you what may feel like an even more one-piece type of long grip. That works great too, but I kind of prefer this method of using the sleeves on the magazines because now I can use all 3 magazines with no problem. CSX E-Series has the Ambidextrous safety, and there's a couple things I like a lot about the safety. Number one, it works. It's a good safety. It's easy to flick on and off with my thumb. Has just enough tension so that it's a positive click in both directions. I know I've engaged or disengaged it. It doesn't want to unengage itself, you know, it's not loose or anything like that, but it's not so tight that you can't work it. And that's a problem sometimes on really small guns with small little controls. Not the case here. The other thing I like a whole lot about it is that you can engage the safety with the slide lock back, as you see here, and then you can charge the gun with the safety on. That's just another level of safe shooting at the range. The other big change, of course, is optics ready. And I talked about that a little bit already, but I prefer to shoot without an optic most of the time when I'm doing my initial range work. So that's the case. I'd rather use the open sights. I want to review the gun with the sights that it has on it.
Smith & Wesson sent me this new CSX E-Series pistol at no cost for this review, just so you know. I appreciate that a lot, but I'm not obligated to have any particular opinion. They are not the boss of me. I'll tell you in a bit what I think about this new trigger. Let's talk about the other specs of the CSX E-Series pistol. It's available in 2 barrel lengths, 3.1 inch and 3.6 inch. I'm reviewing the 3.1 inch version for a couple reasons. It's the same length as the old one that I do have, and it's also a pocket-sized gun. The gun weighs just 19.7 ounces. It stands 4.6 inches tall, and it's 1.12 inches wide. The height is a critical number because that means it's easy to carry the gun in a holster without printing. It also makes it suitable for carry in a pocket holster. The other important dimension for pocket carry is, of course, the overall length, just 6.1 inches. Now, this is considering that the gun's being used with the 12-round magazine. If you want to use the larger magazines or change to the extended polymer grip, pocket carry may not be possible. It's also worth noting that the 10-round magazines for my original CSX fit and function just fine in the E-Series pistol.
Okay, everybody who wants to see me bench rest this gun and do real serious accuracy testing from 25 yards, raise your hand. No, not enough. Too bad. So I'm just going to do accuracy testing offhand from 12 yards. Seems like a nice compromise, right? Half the distance, twice the difficulty. See? You see how that works? Okay, so first I'm going to shoot some ball ammo. 124 grain ball ammo from pretty obscure stuff. I'll show you the box. Don't know where I got it. Probably will never see it again. It is Egoman. Bought a case of it at some point, and I've been shooting it a lot, and it's pretty good stuff. So, but it's just generic ball range ammo. 10 rounds of that. And I'll start at the orange dot on the left. All right, there's those 10. And it looks like most of them found the orange. Okay, now 10 rounds of self-defense ammo. These are jacketed hollow points. They are 115 grain, and they are ammo incorporated. One of my favoritist new brands of ammo. I don't know how long they've been around. They're kind of new to me. I've been shooting them for a year and a half, maybe off and on. But I really like their ammo. So here are 10 rounds of that. All right, there are those 10 rounds. I felt myself pull that very first shot a little bit, so I know that dropped low, but I think I have another one low. But again, most of them hit the orange where they're supposed to, and again, that's 12 yards. That's offhand, and that's after I've already put a couple hundred rounds through the gun, so I am not unhappy with that.
It's a hammer-fired handgun with single-action only design. The design includes ambidextrous thumb safeties, which I really like. The implied carry method would be a loaded chamber, cocked hammer, and the safety on, just like you would with a mini 1911 type pistol. The hammer spur is nice, and it has good texture, but it's too small to depend on using in any kind of a stress situation. The slide stop and slide release is also ambidextrous, and it's placed in a good position for thumb operation. The magazine release can be configured for either the right-handed or left-handed shooter. Smith & Wesson provides the left-handed control with the pistol, as well as instructions for changing it out. Slide to frame lock is achieved via a pin, like a 1911, that's part of the slide stop control. This goes through the barrel lug, again, 1911 style, and provides lockup. The guide rod and recoil spring are a captured assembly more similar to a striker-fired pistol. The ergonomics of the CSX E-Series are instantly recognized as Smith & Wesson. The overall shape of the gun and the contours of the grip, as well as the material and texture, are virtually identical to an M&P. In the box are customizing options, a second backstrap for those wanting a fuller feel, and the extended palm swell combo that extends the grip to fit a 15-round magazine without a sleeve. That extended grip also gives the shooter more length to hold onto, and it might be preferred for people with larger hands. There are several sleeves provided that allow each of the 3 magazines to fit gap-free into each configuration of the gun. You literally get everything you need in the box with the CSX E-Series, even the punch tools for takedown and grip changes. The finish of the gun is excellent. The aluminum frame has a smooth matte finish, whereas the slide has a little bit more gloss. Both were flawless in appearance. Oh, and how about that trigger? I put a few hundred rounds through this pistol in total, and I paid close attention to the trigger with every single shot. take-up is short and smooth, and the brake is very crisp. And, drum roll, the reset was very good. No more false resets, no more grit. Those were my complaints with the first CSX. What I remembered from the test gun in Tennessee translated perfectly to this production version. Now, I'm not talking tuned trigger competition gun reset, but for a micro-compact self-defense pistol, I would definitely classify this trigger as excellent. Okay, so wrapping it up, here's my conclusion. Smith & Wesson got it right with the CSX E-Series pistol. It starts with a soundly built handgun that functions and performs to or above expectations. The optics-ready capability adds great value and purpose, and it really helps to future-proof the design. And the value of the package is very high. Everything you need to suit the CSX to your taste and your needs is in the box, and at a decent price. MSRP is $699 as of this review, so look for it at around maybe $650 in your local store. The new CSX E-Series is a serious contender for a primary carry gun. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I like to read them and even chime in on the discussion from time to time. And you can really support this channel and help me keep content flowing by hitting like and being a subscriber. I'm on Patreon too, if you want to support me that way. Look down in the description of this video and you'll see several discount codes and affiliate links. You can save significant money on products that I use and recommend. Some of those affiliate links are even going to help out the channel at no additional cost to you. This is just an opinion. Thanks for watching.